So there I was, just drawing some funny little furry characters on my computer, making this week's plans to appease the YouTube gods, when out of nowhere, DreamWorks walks in and just casually drops the trailer for Kung Fu Panda 4 on a Wednesday morning? Hello. Yes, daddy, please. This is the most unhinged intro I've ever done. Okay, let's run through this thing.
It is time to take the next step on your journey.
I'm not going to be the Dragon Warrior anymore?
You will advance to spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace.
I mean, first of all, the animation looks really nice. I was kind of wondering if we were going to get another Puss in Boots: The Last Wish retooling of the animation style, and there is actually some of that in here, but it's more subtle. I'll call it out when I see it. But for now, I'm glad DreamWorks is giving this movie the care it deserves. Part of me was worried this would be another Transformania situation. It does look a little faster. Like, maybe the characters aren't as slow to move as they were in the original trilogy. Or maybe the lighting just isn't as intense. Either way, it doesn't bother me at all, and it could actually be really nice to change up the frame rates a bit for the action scenes. This franchise is built on its spectacular action, and if we get some anime-esque changing frame rates, that would be really cool. You know, Puss in Boots wasn't even known for its amazing action, and look how good that looks.
Inner peace. Inner peace.
Keep your surf off my turf!
Oh, I mean, we've already got a sort of comic book style action graphic here, and it fits pretty nicely. Very aesthetically pleasing, and I could see it being tastefully worked into all the action scenes. Very nice. Daddy's home.
Big fan. Once I possessed the kung fu of every master villain.
Oh yeah, baby, this is the most hype thing to ever hype. Not only does this feel, look, and sound like we just pulled Tai Lung straight out of the first movie,
not even the great Dragon Warrior,
but they also kept his fighting style consistent. It's a great example of the care and level of detail that goes into every single one of these films. This is not Trolls 3, okay? Even though that movie does have its fans, I'm sure, this is just DreamWorks' baby. And you just know they're gonna treat it with respect, is all I'm saying. And the villain design, super cool. Tarot cards on the table, Kai was not a threatening villain in the slightest. I don't think this is a very hot take. A lot of people didn't love the third movie, me included. He had no deep connection with Po himself. And since this chameleon character seems to be a dragon warrior that went a bit wrong, she reflects what Po could become if he lets the power go to his head. Alright, check this out. Viola Davis plays the chameleon, and her voice fits so good, like a glove.
Tai Lung. Big fan. Once I possessed the kung fu of every master villain.
Kung Fu Panda's villains are usually elevated to the next level by their voice actors. And I love Cave Johnson as much as the next guy. He's great in everything he's in, but he just didn't really sell me on Kai in the last movie. Viola Davis is really selling me the chameleon. If that makes sense, I don't know. It's giving Lord Shen vibes, just a tiny bit, and that's all I need.
Who's that?
The most powerful shape-shifting sorceress, the chameleon.
How do I find the chameleon?
Okay, who's this? I've heard some people say that they're not really a fan of this character design. Not really in a overly hateful way, they just miss the Furious Five. And yes, if you didn't figure it out by now, the Furious Five are probably not in this movie. At most, they will be short cameos. I won't lie, this trailer did have a serious lack of powerful side characters. I mean, we've got both of Poe's dads, this new character, some little kitties. I don't think the five are going to be in this adventure at all, and while that does make me sad, I'm willing to give this new guy a shot. This character is voiced by Awkwafina, and okay, hold on. People have certain opinions about her, and can't blame you, but I just like to say your opinions are valid. But honestly, she doesn't really come across as annoying or just a nuisance in this trailer at all. Her voice acting seems a lot more grounded this time around.
The best crooks and criminals live here.
You're a wanted criminal?
You sound surprised. Is it surprising?
And I didn't realize it was her until I actually looked up the cast. It looks like she's going to be Poe's successor, and as long as they don't tap into the strong female character angle, I'll be happy. Like, just write a good character. That's all you need to do. and that's all we want. You can have a strong female character without patting yourself on the back for it. In any case, I like her character design. I think she looks alright, and I'm willing to give her a shot.
It was against an army.
Then we'll just have to get an army of our own.
Now, I can't explain why, but as soon as I saw this visual gag, it really got my hopes up. This seems like a joke the first movie would have made, with lots of slapstick that just works for some reason.
Now you kids be careful of those fireworks.
Violence makes our tummies tingle.
This movie, you can tell by this point, it's not going for a very serious tone, which I know a lot of people will take issue with. But the trailers for the other movies were very fun and funny, and then in the movie, there was a layer of nuance underneath it that gave us Lord Shen, Tai Lung, even Kai was menacing to some extent, just not as much as the other two. So this movie, this trailer, could very well be a misdirect, and I'm down for it to go in a comedy route. But I would still like to see some emotional beat-ups in this movie, if that makes sense.
The best crooks and criminals live here.
You're a wanted criminal?
You sound surprised. Is it surprising?
I love this direction they decided to take this character. I'm a huge sucker for the typical bad guy becomes the good guy trope. You know, I'm not getting those basic side character vibes. It sounds like she'll have to come to terms with her past before she can move on to something greater. Speaking of which, this trailer looks great and all, but I'm still not sure what the emotional center of this movie will look like. What's Poe gonna go through? What's his real connection to the villain? And this Dragon Warrior successor, what's she going to have to do before she gets that title? There's a little voice in the back of my head that thinks there won't be a strong emotional center for this movie, and that honestly worries me. Good comedy is good comedy, but we need something a little more than that to take this movie from A tier to S tier. You know what I mean? Like, it's still gonna be good, just not great if they don't do that huge emotional weight like they've always done. I don't remember who said it first, but when the third movie came out, people described it as a good end to a great franchise, and that's honestly just so accurate. Normally, fourth entries in a franchise come way after the original trilogy ended, and it takes on a more serious and mature tone. Unless you're Toy Story 4 and you don't really know what you are. I'm not gonna get on that side tangent. I didn't love Toy Story 4, but I'm not the only one who didn't, so it's fine. This isn't really giving a great mature feeling, which I'm not loving. You can tell my feelings on this trailer are starting to evolve as I write this script. It could start to feel like a more of a lighthearted side story, especially with the Furious 5 not even being here. All we can hope for is that it's entertaining, and maybe this trailer is just leaving a lot out. I really hope Katzenberg proves me wrong.
Or slow and painful.
And Ki-hoi Kwan is here, and he's been on a real roll lately. Loki Season 2 gave me a good reason to love this guy, and here's hoping Kung Fu Panda 4 continues that trend. His voice just sounds so natural, coming out of this creature. Don't know what it is.
What is it you're holding?
A cookie?
You were chosen to become something more than you already are.
Well, you know, now that I'm looking at it from this angle, maybe the animation has been downgraded a bit. It's still not bothering me, maybe I'm just in denial about it, but I've always said that I don't really care how good the animation is. Good animation is a bonus. It shouldn't be your entire film. Look, I love Spider-Verse, but those films are trying really hard to sell the movie on the animation quality. The story's still very good, don't get me wrong, but it really wants you to love this animation. And we do, but you compare it to something like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, that movie just does it so casually, and I can't help but feel more attached to that movie because of that fact. And after all those horror stories came out about how much of a nightmare it was to work on a cross, I just don't really see it as a priority anymore. Studios, take care of your artists, please. If you have to sacrifice that incredible animation for better working conditions, do that. So in conclusion for this whole point, I don't mind if it's downgraded a bit, as long as the story is there to pick up the slack. Choreography looks as good as ever. And that's always one of the highlights of these films, right? We're all here for those epic prison escape scenes, bridge fight scenes. They're all fantastically done. Look, as long as we get something that's half as good as this, I will be satisfied.
Seven-nation army couldn't hold me back.
And that is what I mean by stylized. It's a fart joke, but it's still stylization. This looks really cool, even though it's sort of atypical. I have faith that DreamWorks is the studio that's gonna make it work. They don't make cheap sequels. Except for that one time, as someone in our Discord pointed out, but Shrek the Third can die in a hole. But Kung Fu Panda 4 will be different. Then watch the movie come out and it's garbage, because that's never happened to me before. So, in conclusion, I am thoroughly hyped. Sure, some things might look a bit different this time around, and the Furious 5 being gone has a lot to do with that, but this doesn't look bad by any stretch of the imagination, unless you actually think that, which is totally valid as long as you can back up your argument with facts and logic. Don't let me down. That stylized fart shows that at least one person in this movie gave a donk about it. I trust Jack Black's judgment, and if he was willing to come back for this, I'm willing to pay an absorbent price for a ticket to see it with my buddies. So those were my thoughts on the Kung Fu Panda 4 trailer. Let me know in the comments, does it look good to you, or were you expecting something a bit, richer? I will say this, I was kind of hoping for a more distinct color scheme for this installment, but it's just a minor point. I'm still totally digging the vibe. So thank you for watching this Tai Lung thirst trap all the way to the end. My name is Candles, and I'll see you in the next one.